medicine Lycopodium clavatum in Glycosuria. The purpose of knowledge shared here is only educational and to increase awareness. Please always consult your family doctor before using any medicine. Self-treatment may always be injurious. ग्लाइकोसूरिया अर्थात पेशाब में शुगर आना डायबिटीज की बीमारी कभी ठीक नहीं होती ऐसा विश्वास किया जाता है, किंतु यह निराधार तथा भ्रामक है और सत्य नहीं है। यदि आपको ग्लाइकोसूरिया है, पेशाब में शुगर आ रही है, जहां आप पेशाब करते हैं वहां छींटे लग जाते हैं और यहां बताए गए लक्षण आपको हैं, तो आपके लिए लाइकोपोडियम उपयुक्त दवा है। आइए जानें कि ग्लाइकोसूरिया नामक बीमारी में दवा लाइकोपोडियम कब उपयोगी है। When to use Lycopodium in Glycosuria? Peevish and depressed in mind, thirst and hunger constant, but worse at night, flatulence, feces small in quantity, want of natural warmth, sexual desire and power gone, lithic acid gravel, pulmonary thysis, pettitosa and purulenta with hectic, great emaciation, mental, nervous and bodily exhaustion, gouty leukemia। आइए जानें मेडिसिन लाइकोपोडियम के कुछ अन्य महत्वपूर्ण लक्षण। एवर्जन टू ब्रेड एंड वर्स फ्रॉम ईटिंग ब्रेड एंड फूड्स मेड ऑफ fermented and fermentable dough, frequent and painful eructations, sour eructations, vomiting, distension, alternate diarrhea and constipation, pale whitish cloudy mucus urine, often fatigue, premature and profuse menses, peevishness, rush of blood to head, falling of hair with crusty scalp eruption, inflammation of eyes and lids, deficiency of vital heat, contraction of tendons, especially hamstrings. Lyco acts profoundly on the entire organism. It causes paralysis and paralytic weakness of limbs, of brain, suppurative conditions, even gangrene. It is particularly suited to persons of keen intellect but feebler muscular development, upper part of body wasted, lower semi-dopsical, lean and predisposed to lung and hepatic conditions, herpetic and scapulous constitutions, hypochondriacs subject to skin diseases, lithic acid diathesis, much red sediment in urine, urine itself transparent, sallow people with cold extremities, hearty disposition when sick, mistrustful, slow comprehension, weak memory, weak children with well-developed heads but puny sickly bodies, irritable, nervous, and unmanageable when sick. After sleep, cross, pushing everyone away angrily. Old women and children, undernourished states suggest it. Aggravation from 4 to 8 p.m. Direction right to left. Cutting pains, shooting from right to left in any part indicate lycopodium. In this, it is complementary to lycosis, which has the opposite direction. Lycopodium is a right-side medicine, but right-sidedness is not so characteristic as the direction right to left. Amelioration from uncovering. This is general, but it applies to sufferings in the head more particularly. If a patient complains of headache, no matter of what kind, and if the headache is distinctly better by taking off the hat or other covering, Lycopodium will probably be the remedy. This is the great dividing line between this remedy and Silesia, another great headache medicine. In Silesia cases, the patient must wrap up the head. Amelioration from loosening the garments, amelioration from warm drinks, aggravation from cold food and drink. This does not refer to gastric complaints alone, but to headache, sore throat, and any other condition. Fan-like movement of lunacy occurring in cerebral, pulmonary, and abdominal complaints. The movements are usually rapid, never slow, and are not synchronous with the breathing. Spasmodic movements of facial muscles, angles of mouth alternately drawn up and relaxed, and spasmodic movements of tongue, it cannot be protruded, rolls from side to side like a pendulum. Cramp in the tongue when speaking, cutting off the end of every sentence, nodding and side-to-side movement of the head, half-open condition of the eyes during sleep is a strong indication for Lycopodium in bronchitis, pneumonia, and typhoid. Constriction of throat like globus, but always induced by regurgitation of food. Excessive appetite is easily satisfied. Fullness of abdomen with flatulence, constipation, dry hard stools, dyspnea, slight cough with chest constriction, better in open air. All symptoms worse 4 to 8 p.m. Sudden flashes of heat, lightning-like pains, sudden satiety. Pains and symptoms come and go suddenly as with belladonna. Sensation as if a hand were in the body clutching the entrails, also as with belladonna. Restlessness ameliorated by motion. Right foot hot, left foot cold. Burning pains better by heat. Burning like hot coals between scapulae, burning stinging in breasts, dryness of parts, of mucous membranes, of vagina, of skin, especially palms, fear of being alone, fear of men, fear of his own shadow, apprehensiveness, susceptible to natural causes of fear which make a profound impression on bodily organs as the liver. Mental states resulting from fear. Profound sadness and inclination to weep, peevish, forgetful, avaricious, imperiousness. Lycopodium is a remedy for misers. Headache, worse 4 to 8 p.m., worse from eating, worse from warmth of bed, worse from becoming heated during a walk, worse from heat in general, worse from mental exertion, better in open air, better in cool place, better by uncovering, hair falls out, ophthalmia, conjunctiva looks like red flesh, facial neuralgia, the facial appearance is pale and yellow, deeply furrowed, looks elongated, swords in teeth, incarcerated flatulence, more in intestines than stomach, painful with amelioration by erectations. There is the sinking sensation at epigastrium, and it is worse in the night, waking up the patient, or worse in afternoon. This sinking sensation becomes translated into canine hunger, but as soon as a morsel of food is swallowed, there is distension and fullness to the throat, preventing him eating any more. Sour stomach, sour taste, sour vomiting, thirst for little and often, but drinking cold water causes nausea, great weakness with the vomiting, cord-like tension across hypochondria, flatulence incarcerated, pressing outward, sensation as if something moving up and down in bowels, great sensitiveness in liver region, sciatica, cannot bear to lie on painful side, it is so sensitive, especially in case of right side sciatica, gums, epigastrium, abdomen, right side of chest, eruption round anus, all soft parts are sensitive. Touch and pressure aggravates all these. Touch and pressure only ameliorates tearing in head. The flatulence presses on rectum and bladder, out pushing in right inguinal ring. Lyco has right inguinal hernia, especially in children. Lyco is one of the great remedies for constipation, where purgatives have been abused. Spasmodic constriction of rectum, constipation of infants, renal colic with stinging, tearing, digging pain in right ureter to bladder, as if some small calculus was tearing its way to bladder, aching in back before menstruation, child cries before menstruating, red sand is found on the diaper, aching in kidneys, worse before, better after urinating. The catamania are too early and too profuse, extreme sadness and irritability before catamania, seizing with the flow, cutting pain right to left, left leg colder than right, barborrhygmy under left ribs in front, ill humor, bearing down pains and headache, intolerance of tight clothing, sensation as if a hand were in the body clutching the entrails. Though a right side remedy, it has cured left ovarian pain, dull aching, worse on raising the limb or turning in bed. It is of great service in pregnancy, nausea, varices, excessive fetal movements, and in labor, unsatisfactory pains. There is burning in Lycopodium, puerperal fever, feels as though hot balls dropped from each breast through to back, rolling down back along each leg and dropping off heels. This alternated with sensation as if balls of ice followed the same course. Phlegmasiadolens, Lycopodium in respiratory affections, sputa salty, milky, greenish yellow, thick yellow mucopus, dry burning catarrh of nose, larynx, throat, chest, dry teasing cough in emaciated boys. The cough of Lycopodium is provoked by irritation from deep breathing, stretching out throat, and by empty swallowing. Pain under the sternum as if food lodged there and she could not breathe through it. Cough worse on waking. All the blood vessels from the heart to the capillaries are affected by Lycopodium. It has cured both nevus and aneurysm and relieved many conditions of disordered heart. It is also one of the most important remedies in varicosis. Excessive sensitiveness is in Lycopodium. Cannot bear any strong smells, cannot endure noise. Sensitiveness to sound has a curious development in this symptom. In the evening, she continues to hear the music she has heard during the day. Heaviness of the arm is a special feature among the general paralyzing effects of Lycopodium. Burning in right arm with paralysis, preventing her grasping anything with the right hand. Had much worry, irritability before menstrual period, better by the flow. Worse from 6 to 7 p.m. With the burning was a sharp pain shooting up the arm. Impotence is considerable. It covers the case of old men who marry again and find themselves impotent, and the case of young women who have become impotent from masturbation or sexual excesses. The desire is strong, but the power is absent. Pain is small, cold, relaxed. General dropsy and anasarca. Afternoon fever. Worse 4 to 8 p.m. Slight chilliness, but no thirst. Difficult breathing on lying down. Urine scanty and high colored. Bowels constipated. Heart section weak and regular. Irritability, typhoid with excessive tympanitis. When awake, excessively cross, irritable, scolding, screaming, behaving disagreeably, quite different from his usual nature. Frightful headaches, occiput, vertex, and through right eye, albuminuria, cystitis with fever and palpitation of the heart. The calls to micturate were increased, and he could hardly reach the vessel quick enough to prevent premature escape of the urine. So severe and sudden was the urging. During and sometimes after the passage there was intense burning pain, as if molten lead were flowing through the urethra. During the height of the pain he grasped the penis to obtain relief. The urine, which was discharged in very scanty quantities, looked turbid, almost loamy, and a dirty brownish red color, and a peculiar odor of malt. Lycopodium is useful in the effects of chewing tobacco. Forehead cold, but becomes warm if lightly covered. In pernicious intermittents, a long-lasting chill coming on 9 a.m. and generally passing off without subsequent heat or sweat. Hands covered with warts. Metrorrhagia, dark blood with large clots flowed from her. Worse every moment, no pain. Among the peculiar sensations of Lycopodium are sensation as if everything was turning round, sensation as if temples being screwed together, sensation as if the brain vacillating to and fro, sensation as if head would burst, sensation as if head opened, pain in head as if caused by wrong position, sensation as if eyes were too large, sensation as if hot blood rushed into ears, sensation as if sulfur vapor in the throat. Front teeth as if too long, vesicles on tip of tongue as if scalded and raw, sensation as if a ball rose up in the throat, sensation as if a hard body lodged in the back of the throat, sensation as if everything eaten was rising up, sensation as if the esophagus was being clutched and twisted, sensation as if steam rising from stomach to head, sensation as if something were moving up and down in the stomach, sensation as if suspensor ligament of liver would tear, sensation as if the stomach would fall down, sensation as if drops of water were falling down, sensation as if heart hung by a thread, sensation as if gimlets were running into the spine, sensation as if dogs with sharp teeth were gnawing her, tension as from a cord in diaphragm, as if the chest was constricted with a tight waistcoat, cramps in chest accompanying stomach affections is a strong indication for lycopodium, burning as of hot coals between scapulae, sensation as if hot balls dropped from each breast through to back, rolling down back along each leg and dropping off heels, alternating with balls of ice, sensation as if water is spurted on the back, sensation as if lying on ice. The symptoms are worse by touch, pressure, weight of clothing. Riding in carriage causes nausea, worse morning on waking, worse afternoon, 3 p.m., 4 p.m., 4 to 6 p.m., 4 to 8 p.m., 5 p.m., 6 p.m., worse evening before midnight, worse after eating, even if ever so little, worse wrapping up head, even wearing hat or bonnet, worse in warm room, worse getting warm by exercise, warmth of bed aggravates headache and irritation of skin, but ameliorates toothache, rheumatism and other symptoms. Great desire for open air, better in open air, better by uncovering. Must be fanned, especially wants to be fanned on the back, burning between shoulders. Better by warm, worse by cold food and drink. Worse by wet weather, by stormy weather, especially by wind. Worse from moistening diseased parts. Rest aggravates, motion ameliorates. Lying down ameliorates headache, pain in epigastrium. Lying on back ameliorates cough. Worse lying on right side in liver affection. Worse lying on painful side, sciatica. Worse lying on left side, worse by rising from a seat, better after. Worse from lamplight, from looking fixedly at any point. Worse from eating cabbage, vegetables, beans and peas with husks, bread especially rye bread and pastry. Worse from wine, worse from milk, worse before menstruation, worse from suppressed menstruation, gouty swellings about finger joints, biliarycolic, pain started from right of gallbladder, travelled to middle line, and then passed downwards. In the attacks he was cold and yet sweated, bowels constipated. Thank you.